Hello, everyone. Jim Biringer here, NHLRumors.com. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below. Going around the Rumorville. And we're going to St. Louis with the Blues. Doug Armstrong, St. Louis Blues, not off to the best season. As a matter of fact, it's one of their worst seasons in a long time last year. Remember, they fired the coach, bringing in Jim Montgomery. They threatened everybody at the trade deadline. They're going to move him out. And then they go on a run, lose by 1 goal to the Winnipeg Jets, Game 7 in overtime. What a playoff series that was between the Jets and the Blues. But here we are again. Something's not coagulating with the St. Louis Blues. It didn't carry over. There's something missing with this team right now. And Jordan Kyrou's name is back in the trade rumors. We got Pavel Buchnevich's name coming up, Oscar Sundqvist. We have Brayden Schenn's name out there. Maybe potentially, as we saw last year, Joel Hofer's name, Jordan Binnington. And, look, there's only so many times you can go to this well for the St. Louis Blues and Doug Armstrong. Look, there's going to be a little bit of transition. We know Alex Dean's going to be GM soon. But you can't keep scratching the same players, scratching the top players, threatening the top players for this to get them a kick in the pants. Yeah, they came out of nowhere in 2019. Doug Armstrong also did it that year. He was going to threaten to trade everybody, and it got him on a roll. They knew they had to play better. Those are miracle runs. They haven't been a consistent team in a while. And you look at it, and look, Jordan Kyrou's name was there in the summer, heading into the draft, heading into July 1st, before his no movement clause kicked in. Full no move, no trade clause kicks in. And everybody's like, oh, he's going to go to Montreal. We saw them make the trade that sent Zach Bolduc to Montreal. Logan Mailloux went back the other way. It was a good hockey trade, but Mailloux's in the minors right now. The Blues are just missing something. They're missing that punch. Buchnevich is there. You have Hofer got a new extension, but something's off, and it's not the coach. It's not Jim Montgomery. They just brought him in. Kyrou always gets scratched. Is it Brayden Schenn? Brayden Schenn's name's out there again. It's picking up steam. Teams are looking for centers. We know the center market. We know Devils were looking at him last year. Were the Flames looking at him? There were teams that were looking for center depth when it came to Brayden Schenn. Same with Jordan Kyrou. Again, the Canadians were kicked around it. Were they trying to get that deal done? Was there a bigger move there? What did the Canadians not want to give up? A Michael Haig, a David Reinbacher? Because if that's something that they didn't want to give up, then they're probably smart to do that. But again, we have also heard Elliot Friedman believe that the Seattle Kraken were looking at Jordan Kyrou. They already have Vince Dunn there. They picked off it from the expansion draft. You look at it and you say, okay, well, if Kyrou was going to move, they should have done it in the summer. But again, those reports that were out there, oh, they really wanted to move him. If they really wanted to move him, they should have moved him before July 1st. Now he's got to say where he wants to go. And I don't think he wants to go anywhere. He responded coming from being a scratch, had a goal. They still lost, but it was a better effort from the Blues. Again, it's early into the season. We're trying to figure out where teams are, but teams are going to be calling about these players. They continue to call about these players, but Doug Armstrong puts these prices so high that teams don't want to do business. And at some point, they're going to call his bluff, or they're going to say, hey, we don't want to trade with you anymore because you're just never going to do it. So is it the boy who cried wolf, or is it, we're going to actually do something here. We're going to have a dance partner. Because right now, the Blues need to do something, and teams need centers. Teams need, 30 goal scorers. St. Louis Blues need to find offense. Jordan Kyrou is a consistent 30 goal scorer in this league, and teams can eat that over $8 million salary now with the rising salary cap. Very interested to see what they did. Remember last year they made the move for Cam Fowler to shore up that defense. Again, we know Torrey Krug's done. They brought in Justin Falk. They made a lot of moves to change the dynamic of this team. They have a lot of young prospects in there. Domino Dvorsky's in there. We know Jimmy Snuggerud's there. This team has the pieces to compete. They just can't put it together. Consistent goaltending. Look, Jordan Binnington will be there for Team Canada. But the Blues continue to be in the rumor mill because they have players teams want. And again, Buchnevich can consistently score 20 goals. We know players like Kyrou can consistently score 30 goals. What are the prices? Is it way too much? The Devils kicked around on Schenn. They found out the price was too much. Same with Ryan O'Reilly in Nashville. And, while this is a St. Louis Blues video, there are other videos and other rumors out there talking about the Nashville Predators, what they going to do. Could Ryan O'Reilly be on the move? Could be Steven Stamkos, and we'll dive into that more in another video that we talk about. But again, those prices for Nashville we're looking at last year were high. The Blues are doing the same thing. Are they trying to price themselves out of it while they get the engagement and teams talking to figure out a way to get it done on the ice? Look, we've seen teams get that trade bump, and maybe St. Louis is getting the trade bump, and hopefully they do. The players are starting to play a little bit better. We saw Calgary kind of turn it around. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in St. Louis with Doug Armstrong because, again, it's threat, not do. And at some point, you got to do. And let's keep an eye on this St. Louis Blues team moving forward because there are definitely some pieces that can be moved, as we've heard from Dave Pagnotta, Frank Saravalli, Elliot Freeman. And as Elliot said, it's always interesting that it's Jordan Kyrou that always gets scratched. So there's something going on there. But again, if they really wanted to move him, they should have done it before July 1st. They didn't, and here we are. So going to be interested to see what happens with the Blues moving forward. But there's something off in St. Louis right now. And I wonder if a move's going to be coming because, again, we're getting close to that 20-game mark. And once we get past that mark, it's kind of, we know what these teams are. So this has been Jim Biringer, NHLRumors.com. Like the video, subscribe, comment below. Take care, and we'll be back again real soon.